Hey, welcome back to Fake Deep Think. We've been gone for a minute. It was Labor Day, and John was out on a. Oh no, Doc was out this time. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
Doc was in
Me.
Canada. How was that,
hmm
by the way, Doc?
I liked it. Canada's cool. The only thing I would say frustrated
Makes
me to no
America on
end
shit.
was they drive so fucking slow, dude. Everything I saw was like max 70 kilometers per hour, which I think converted is like 50 to 60 miles per hour. And like that shit was infuriating. And the cops are like super about it. Like every like few miles you'd see a billboard that says don't speed, or you see cops parked out. And like this is like on the freeway. We were going to Niagara Falls and we're like, bro, we should be hitting like 90 80 90 right about now. Maybe like 70 would be what's on the signs. But no, everyone was driving fucking slow as shit. And the crazy thing too, I literally told my friend, I was like, dude, this is how I know I'm in a different country, because in the right lane was an F-150 going like 50 miles per hour, and we were fucking passing him up. And I was like, bro, in Texas, that motherfucker would be on the left lane going to 100 to 110. And I was like, I don't understand why the fuck this guy's driving so slow. Like, it was wild.
Yeah, we're just used to being an American having the fast-paced lifestyle. Everything's fast-paced.
I guess, man. I mean, they grind too, but they definitely don't fucking move when they drive. Like,
That's,
Or
did you like it
Canada's
though?
like,
wait, what's up, John?
mhm. No, I'm saying I feel like Canada's like you bought America on Shin.
It was a little bit like Bizarro World, because it's like
New
it
America.
still looked the same and the vibe still felt the same. I felt like people in Toronto felt like it was New York. Like the vibe kind of felt the same, but it was slightly off.
Were there
Um,
accents?
Did you meet
I
Drake?
actually, so the crazy thing about it is that I didn't know this until I got back, but Toronto is like the most diverse major city in on the planet or something like that.
Interesting.
Um, so like white people are actually the lowest like people in that city, and it's mostly immigrants that make up everything. So I honestly didn't see a white Canadian for a minute when I landed in Toronto. And then
That's
finally when I
interesting.
did, they didn't really have accents. I don't know if everybody like of all, born Canadians have the accent, but I would expect the white people that are like probably generations old there would have the A or whatever
Yeah,
they
but it's their
say.
typical A thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I heard that I was like, oh, that's different was a sorry. I was like, oh, sorry, and they just kind of kept going.
Oh, okay. It
I'm
says
sorry.
sorry. Yeah,
Sorry, it's like a U. Sorry,
that's
and
funny.
yeah, but I didn't hear anybody say a or a boot. And then that's honestly the thing that tripped me out the most. Like when I landed into the airport, all the TSA agents had like turbans on, and then most of the people that were manning the airport were Indian. And so I was just like, "Fuck, where did I land? Like, what the hell?" And then I walked outside, and I was like, "No, this is definitely Canada. Like everything says the Queen on it and everything, and like you
That's
can see
trippy.
it's."
That's trippy.
Yeah, that is trippy. The highways had like crowns on them. That's how you knew, like the like Royal Interstate or something like that, like number 39. The money was obviously all with like the Queen on it and the
That's
monarchy.
weird.
Um, Everything's in kilometers, everything's in the metric system. So I had to get used to it. That shit was hilarious though, because I took a Canadian flight. Like I didn't take an American flight into Canada. I took a Canadian flight, even though I was supposed to take an American one. So when I was on the plane with the Canadians, our AC didn't work on the plane, and they were pissed. They were just like, I
That
was in a
sounds miserable.
well, I honestly, it wasn't that hot. It was
Do
maybe like
Canadians get?
I don't know, but it was like I want to say like 75 degrees, maybe a little, approaching 80. And so I was wearing like a sweater, and I was like, dude, I'm good. But the Canadians were pissed, and they were like, come on, it's almost 30 degrees in here. And I was like, 30 degrees? Like what the fuck are you talking about, man? It's like it's gotta be closer to 80. And then it took me a second to fucking put in the metric system in my head, and I was like, oh, this motherfucker's talking
Oh,
Celsius.
Celsius. Yeah.
So I had to switch it up. And I was like, yeah, it is a little toasty like that, but it wasn't too
We're from
bad.
Texas. We're used to the
Yeah.
more toasty weather.
I mean, dude, when I was there, it was all 60 degrees all day, every day. And I was like,
That's
damn,
comfy. Heck
this
yeah.
feels
How was the
comfy.
food?
That's a
I
good
ate
question.
more foreign food than anything, and that was pretty good. I would say there's a ton of food in that city. Like, I mean, it's like New York. It's like the size of New York, so there's tons of food. But I didn't find good Mexican food. I
That's probably as far as you can get.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah,
yeah.
Middle North, man. There's no way.
I even went to this one restaurant and they had a thing on their menu that said the greatest guacamole ever. And I was like, fucking bullshit,
Yeah.
dude. Even like my friend's uncle, who he's from Texas, man. He was just like, bro, I don't even think the avocados can make it here and still be like ripe. Like this is way too fucking far, man. This is way too cold. Like the avocados are super foreign here. How do you get guacamole to taste good out here? We ordered it. It definitely wasn't the best ever. It
Oh,
was
bro.
it was maybe like mid tier, maybe lower mid guacamole. So I didn't have good Mexican food, but I did have poutine, um, which is like a
Oh,
Canadian
wow.
staple from
The,
Quebec.
the cheese curd thing?
Yeah, it's like French fries with gravy and cheese curds. And I had like really shitty ones or really shitty poutine at first because I went to like a place that's like the equivalent of like a Little Caesars. Like when I first landed, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go to this place called Pizza Pizza. It's they're fucking everywhere, and it's like Little Caesars. The last pizza has a fucking maple leaf in the final A, so that's how I know it was only in Canada. And
Isn't Little Caesars slogan like pizza pizza? Like, doesn't the little guy say pizza pizza?
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah.
That's why it tripped me out about it too. Um, that's your fucking theory, where it's just like slight shift, the remix.
Dog. It's an alternative like reality, dude. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
But yeah, they just serve like fucking Caesar's quality pizza. Like it's cheap, it's fast, and whatever. It's just food. But they
Nothing
have,
wrong
you know
with
how
that.
some they have like the wings and stuff like that, the add-ons you can buy. Well, they had poutine, and I was like, all right, let me try it. It was terrible. It was like they just fucking plopped fucking gravy into the things, into the French fries, and I was like, whatever. But then I went to an actual poutine place. I think they were called poutineries. I went to an actual poutinery and I ordered like 3 variations of it, and it's much better when
Nice.
you go to a place.
I just
Yeah,
can't
they.
stand like cheese. Like I hate mozzarella stick. Like any cheese in that form
Oh, you would
where it's
hate it
like,
then, bro, because that's the whole gimmick. It's
yeah,
some cheese they make in Quebec, and then they just throw it over the French fries, and like it's supposed to be just a quick meal to eat on a hot day. I mean, but I didn't like it that much because the gravy to me was overpowering. I ended up liking this version that's got like buffalo chicken in it because I'll eat buffalo chicken anything.
All right, let me do this quick intro that I didn't do, and then let me do this awkward transition to our first topic. We've been gone for 2 weeks. I'm about to come with the heat, guys. So we got Doc in the house,
Yo, finally back.
John,
what's up, motherfuckers?
and then Ian in the figurative back without the cable because I had to borrow it, and then myself,
Boy, if you
Eugene.
don't.
I have to purchase marijuana after this, and I'm not happy about it. Go ahead, Gene.
Damn.
This guy. All right, so we got something a little bit. Uh,
Yo,
it's gonna
wait.
test the.
Before you start, you know what was cool about Canada? You could just buy fucking weed wherever. They had like stands. It was like going to a fucking
It's
um
legal up there.
yeah, it's hella legal up there.
Oh, I
Like you
didn't
can't
know
have
that.
like a crazy amount, but like you it's like going to the convenience store to buy beer or just like a brewery shop. It was really fucking cool because you would see like a hotel and then you would see like a fucking cannabis dispensary there and you would just go pick it up, man. People would smoke it on the train or they would smoke before they got
Is
onto
it
the
expensive?
buses.
Because obviously that means it's tax. So are the prices high?
I actually didn't buy any, but like it felt so comfortable to just walk around the street and just see the option there and be cool. I can go in there and just grab a fucking I don't know gram and then chill. There was no fear of it or like no skulking, wondering if you got to get a
Yeah.
gram to at least fucking toke up for a little bit.
Stigma.
Yeah, dude, I went to Niagara. Niagara is like Vegas. Like you know how there's so many circus things like going on, like fucking hotels with like mini games and like, all these event centers and stuff like that. And then
Mhm.
they have a fucking dispensary like right in the middle of it, so it just looked like so much fun.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah,
Get a quick something before you see the Niagara Falls. That's actually funny.
yeah, dude. You just toke up, go to the fucking Ripley's Wax Museum, and then go see the falls.
That's fucking funny. All right, let's get into this real quick. All right, so we have a show called Ask the Mask that's on the Channel 4 documentary, and this one's particularly titled "I'm a Pedophile, Not a Molester." So
What?
I told the guys we're gonna see either how far we get or try to get through the whole thing and just get some reactions. I do not expect us to watch this whole thing because honestly, when I watched this, I only got through a minute of it and I was like, okay, I'm done.
I feel like that should be reversed, right? Like that phrase reversed.
I'm not a molester. I'm a pedophile.
Yeah.
I think it's the same either way, to be honest with you.
I mean, like, yeah. It's still bad, but I feel like isn't pedophilia like at the point where he's already done the deed, and the molester's like he hasn't gotten to that worst part yet.
I guess we're kind of rehashing the conversation we had when we talked about maps, but I think we discussed pedophilia. It's not necessarily I mean, it can be no, it's not. It's not an action. It's a noun. It's a description. And it's not describing the action of molestation. It's describing the attraction of the youth or being someone. You trying to say something, John? You're muted, by the way, if you're trying to say something.
I was saying I was saying I was coughing at first. I was saying pedophilia is like the umbrella term, and then molester would be like how you act out your pedophilia, I guess, or how you like show it. Or,
I guess
you
like,
know what I'm saying?
like
I feel
they're
like
starting to take
pedophilia is like
action.
the general term. Anything sexual to do with kids, pedophilia.
Gotcha.
Molester, you touched them.
Yeah, you crossed the line now. You're both.
Okay, yeah.
That makes
I
sense.
assumed the worst of the deeds was in the adjective.
In the philia.
Yeah, or the noun, I guess.
Yeah. Is it a noun or is it an adjective? I think it's a noun. It's a noun, right? Person, place, or thing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's
pedophile.
He's a thing. He's a pedophile.
Is pedophilia a thing?
Pedophilia is the adjective.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the adjective. Yeah. Okay.
Pedophile would be.
Let's get through this. Go ahead and play it, Ian. Ugh.
I'm a paedophile, but that doesn't make me a molester. I'm a virtuous paedophile.
Have you ever abused a child?
No.
Do you still fantasize about it though?
Yes.
I find this crazy.
How young?
The youngest age that I could possibly be attracted to would be probably about 7. In the past, I did do some volunteering with children.
You wanted to be around kids. Is that so you can perv on them?
No.
So when you were there, you didn't fancy any of them?
Yes, I did, but it's not the same thing.
That is mad. I can't understand you. I'm sorry. That is crazy to me.
It's very difficult, and I'm scared. I'm scared that this is going to be a huge, huge mistake.
I can't tell if this is real or not.
He has pedophile shoes on.
It seems super staged, but like, I don't know, man.
So he's a British pedophile on top of it.
Yeah, this is a British publication. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, Doc. I mean, like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Go ahead, Ian.
Virtuous paedophile.
A virtuous paedophile is someone who has a sexual attraction to children, but who has decided that that shouldn't mean that they would abuse a child.
Do you class this as a sexual orientation or like mental disorder?
I think it's a phenomenon that happens in brains.
Ask her the same question.
I'm happy to accept the term disorder as much as I'm happy to accept the term sexual orientation. Or
I don't think you can call anything a sexual orientation when it can never be consensual. I have a child and I in no way, shape or form would ever feel comfortable with you even looking at them.
Right.
So I think then you should have maybe therapy or something, someone to talk to try and actually see if this is something that can be rewired in your brain.
So you think it could be changed?
I don't know. This is obviously why I'm here. I'd hope so.
Have you ever abused a child?
No.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and this is me judging a book by its cover.
That's very fantastic teeth.
That's very. It's almost. I'm gonna not say what I'm about to say, but I'll. Go ahead.
Want to?
I want to say it so bad. I'm not gonna lie.
Type it out.
Have you ever wanted to?
I suppose I've thought of the possibility.
But what is it about a child that you're attracted to?
That's really difficult to answer. You could name different things, different physical features. You can name different things about personality. I don't see that that's going to be different to a list that some like heterosexual guy would give you about, you know.
But they're adults.
No, I totally get
You're
that.
attracted to children. If you had it your way, you would have sex with a child.
It's true that my brain obviously is, you know, has an attraction, and normally because most people can go ahead and ethically pursue at least sexual activity with the person they're attracted to. I know that's not the case. A lot of us don't ever abuse a child and don't ever seek to abuse a child.
Being a parent, Do you understand why I'd feel uncomfortable having you in a room while my daughter is there?
Yes, I do understand, and I understand what you might assume I'd want to do. But on the other hand, there are perhaps men that I don't know if you're married, but there are perhaps men you wouldn't want to be in the same room as your wife. I know it's a different situation because she can...
That's a different situation. That's nothing like this situation.
You're talking as if you having these attractions, it's a harmless thing. Like, you don't think it's wrong even that you find a young child attractive.
The problem is that it's a spontaneously arising thing. The attraction itself is involuntary. Something that's involuntary isn't a choice.
So do you watch like TV programs and stuff and look at a kid and be like, I fancy him?
Yes, that does happen.
I find this crazy.
That is mad. I can't understand you. I'm sorry. That is crazy to me. Is a young child like...
Pause real quick, Ian. So, is there I'm trying my best to be fair here, even though...
Fuck are we watching? Go ahead.
Is there a difference between attractiveness and then a desire for that person? I don't know what that word I'm trying to think of for that, because I think we can acknowledge that certain people are attractive. Like, I cannot be like homosexual, but I can still call another man like, oh yeah, that guy's attractive. Like, you can tell what attractiveness looks like. So then would it be wrong to say like, yeah, that kid's attractive, he or she's gonna be able to get a lot of attention? Is it wrong to acknowledge the attractiveness? And is that line then where, obviously I think where this person is, and I think they're using attractiveness a little bit too much on the desire scale? Like, is there a separation between attractiveness and then that desire for that attractiveness? Can you acknowledge attractiveness without the desire?
Because attractiveness is a different word from describing something as cute. You have your son is adorable, your daughter is adorable. That isn't it. There's a way to describe it without there being that connotation. And for him to use the word attractive means he means what he's saying, is what I'm trying to say.
And what I'm trying to allude to, reason why I guess I use the word desire, because it's not attractiveness, it's desire. You desire these kids. Like, you have this
Oh, yes, correct.
like that, and I think that's where the difference is, I guess I'm trying to pinpoint. Like, I don't know why
I
him
don't think
using
there's a I don't think there's a difference between attraction and desire. I think there's a difference between, like I said, like understanding something is cute or adorable. But when you put those words on it, you're taking out all the sexual connotations, and you're also implying something that's smaller than you, or
Yeah,
like
there's got to be that separation of
there's like a
the
separation
innocence.
there. So even attraction, there's no way you can say I'm attracted to a kid. There's
I mean,
just no
clearly there
way
is a
where
way.
I mean, yeah, but yeah, there's a
I
way,
know,
but
I'm
like, you
sorry.
know what
I'm
I'm saying?
sorry.
There's
Yeah,
no way
I'm
to
sorry.
say it in parse words. So
Yeah.
like it just is what it is. I will say though, they're asking questions and getting upset by the answers.
Well, I guess it's just because they're baffled by it, where they're just like, "Oh, this shit's
So then they
actually
should have got somebody. I don't know how to
yeah."
explain it because they're
You can
right to
see
feel how they feel, but
Like they shouldn't be surprised by the answers that they're
yeah,
getting to the questions they're
it's
asking.
it's more or less like interviewing a science experiment.
Yeah.
I think it's more or less, you're right, they're not being surprised, and I think the reason why is 'cause instead of being surprised, they're being reaffirmed. Because when you think of a pedophile, you already have these questions are coming from a certain, I would argue, a certain sets of beliefs or perspective or opinions, and they're having the ability to ask someone who feels this way the question, and what this question unfortunately is doing is validating how they feel. And I think that's why you're seeing them visibly upset, because it's affirming that I am right to feel upset. So therefore, with that affirmation comes now the expression of that emotion. And they're trying,
I
and
think. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and you're seeing it, like they can't help it. You just can't help it. Like, that's
I think
genuine,
they're
like I think anger, almost disgust,
so
almost.
this is my problem with it. He's a pedophile. Fuck him. That shit. Blah blah blah. My problem with their angle of questioning is they're they're hammering one point, which is that he's a pervert. So like when you ask him, do you watch TV and you see a kid and you say, hey, yeah, that kid's I fancy that kid. You already asked that question several different ways. You're trying to you're trying to see how disgusted you can make yourself versus actually getting information because it's an interview. Now, I don't think you should be if you want to uh pull a hoax or whatever, pretend you're a little 12-year-old kid, get him to text, pull up to the hotel and then beat his ass. That's a different video. But like, I don't know. I just feel like the line of we'll see how well it goes, but the line of questioning so far is them repeating the same question in different ways. Like,
I
you're
don't think they're
disgusting.
coming
I
across
don't
the
get you.
yeah, exactly. I think I think that's
Yeah.
exactly where they're coming from.
It might also be editing because they might have edited it to where all those
True.
questions come back for.
Very true. I did not
That is
consider
true.
that.
Yeah, that's very true.
One,
Alright.
I think one thing that would have been really shocking what they did. He kind of, I don't know, evaded the question or maybe truly just doesn't have an answer. Is they asked him like, "What do you see? Like, what do you genuinely
It's a
look
real
for?"
question.
And he was
What
just like,
about
"Oh,
it
I
do you
don't
find
know."
attractive? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, because in my mind, like I'm thinking like as a dude, be like, "Oh, like when I see like an attractive woman my age, you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh, I'm checking out her tits or I'm checking out her ass, or you know what I mean? It's very like visual
She
things and
has
stuff like that,
womanly characteristics that make her look like a woman, not a little girl.
or even like personality, like oh, she's or she's bubbly and stuff like that. Like there's little things. So he is right. There's the emotional and the physical aspect, but he didn't like directly describe which of either he actually like gets aroused by. Because
I
I
don't know
think
if
if
I want to
he's,
hear that though, because that would
well,
piss me off to be honest
well,
with you after his answer.
that's one of the things where I was like, maybe he ducked because of that. He didn't want to freak these people out. But I think in
That's
order
valid.
to actually help him, you actually have to know what that is. Because once you know what it is, you're just like, oh, you like princesses. That's your thing. You like fetishes of princesses. Now we can work with this. What the fuck happened in your life with princesses? Or what the fuck, is happening with princesses? You know,
He also acknowledged that he likes boys too.
Did he say that?
No, the question's
Question when he
revealed.
asked him if you fancy a boy. He said, yeah. He said, if you're watching TV, you see a little boy. You said, do I fancy him?
He said, yeah.
Oh, he said all children in general then?
I don't know if they specified
Technically.
all children or if they said boy or girl, but at least with one of the questions, it was the emphasis was on a little boy, and he acknowledged the attraction towards a little boy.
First time.
I don't know
listening.
if he didn't understand the question was about a little boy, and he was just it's as long as it's a child. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know.
But a lot of them be gay too,
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, if it's all children, it might be like a power
also,
thing.
as well.
Or like maybe he likes the feeling of taking innocence, or maybe he likes the feeling of
Ah,
being powerful over like children, and
Wonder if he was
maybe yeah.
tinkered with.
I
That's
honestly,
also a thing too.
yeah, I would argue potentially the odds are high. All right, let's try to get another few
See,
minutes of this maybe.
we used less time and got better questions out than they did.
Yeah. yeah. When you watch
play it
TV,
again?
I'm just kidding.
It's a worrying thing. The brain does things before you're even thinking consciously about them, and attraction is one of those things.
What age did you become aware that you liked younger kids?
About when I was 11 and I was attracted to 11-year-old boys, I would be attracted to my peers and I would
Time out.
continue to be
See,
attracted to.
oh, he's stuck in 11-year-old mentality. That means like that's different. I don't accept that answer. I'm struggling with this. So when did you first start noticing you're attracted to kids? When I was 11. Obviously, you're also a kid, so you've never ever, as you've grown older, your attractions never evolved. Like I'm struggling with his answers about it's a mentality thing. It's a mentality thing. No, it's not a mentality thing. Like it's not your attractiveness is not something you're just born with. I'm not born attracted to a Brazilian or a man or a short girl or a tall girl or a black girl. You're not born with attractiveness. To a certain degree, you are conditioned with attractiveness. You can condition what you're attracted to, what you're not attracted to. It's not a mentality thing. I'm really struggling with this. Ah. Sorry, I was boiling over.
Sorry,
I'm
I'm
sorry. I leaked
watching
a little
this.
bit.
Sorry, I'm watching this and I'm not like he can't. I'm disgusted, but he can't make me incensed because there's I already know entering this. There's no words he could put together to make me feel like anything he's doing is normalized or justified. So like it is disgusting, but I'm actually more interested in like doxing if he's been tinkered with before, or if what the actual attraction is, or if he has a Roblox account.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a good question too. That would have been a left field question to ask. Like, do you have a Roblox account?
I'm really
Guarantee
wondering
this
like
nigga
what
got a
happened at
Roblox account.
11 that made him lock his mind in that state.
Yeah,
That is true.
let him
Let's see.
finish answering. Yeah, I kind of had to like insert gut reaction because oh man, I'm sorry.
To my peers when I was sort of 13, 14, 15, but by the time I'm 14, I'm noticing that I'm still attracted to the boys at school who are 11. I suddenly realised at that time that it also went younger than 11 as well.
How young?
The youngest age that I could possibly be attracted to would be probably about 7.
Were you abused as a child?
No, I wasn't sexually abused as a child. I was bullied badly. My family certainly were not abusive. I grew up in a loving household. I had an attraction that nobody wanted to know about at that time, which was being gay.
So I'm gay. I was the only gay in school and I had a lot of bullying through that. Some people will believe that people that are gay should have therapy to sort of change that, and I don't think that.
She said it, now I can say it. Her statements earlier are a little hypocritical after now she's come out and confirmed that she's gay. The statement she said earlier, I think you're muted, John, I didn't hear you.
I mean, I said, why, Gene? Why is it hypocritical?
Because she's trying to claim his attractiveness is a mental disorder, needs to be help, while people said the same thing about her, but it's not. But it's something that it's hypocritical. Like, how can she claim his attractiveness is something that's a mental disorder that needs to be put through therapy, but hers isn't? And I'm not saying it's something it is. I'm not trying to make that. I'm just pointing out her opinion and statement is hypocritical.
She also has a kid. Continue.
I think she just. I see what you're saying, but I do think the severity of attraction
I do
is
too.
more different.
I'm not trying to say there's not a severity. I'm just pointing out that the argument is about attractiveness. The argument has always been about I can't control who I'm attracted to. He is using the same argument. Based off that, it's hypocritical for her to then state that his attractiveness is a mental disorder that requires therapy.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, most people would aim that at her as well.
That's why coming from her is rich. Now that she's confirmed she's gay, that's wild. That's interesting.
This nigga said it's rich.
I really do think the line though is the severity.
I'm not touching on the severity line because who are we to argue that line? I mean, we can clearly say the pedophilia one is up there, but then like to argue hers, I don't want to get into that. I'm not trying to argue the severity thing. I'm just pointing out the simple fact that the attractiveness thing is hypocritical. Coming from her. All right, go for it.
That's possible.
Right.
Do you think that the sexual attraction to children is similar in the way that it's something that can't be changed?
Exactly. It isn't similar in the way that it would be right or wrong to act on it.
Yeah.
It is similar probably, like, if you think about the science of it. I'm really careful. I don't like making the comparison because I think it's really stigmatizing for gay people.
So do you have therapy now?
I don't have therapy now, but I have had in the past. It's really hard to get any paedophile to talk to a therapist at all. There's lots of reasons for that. We're very frightened. We think we might get reported even if we haven't done anything.
Do you have any attraction to adults as well? Like, have you been in relationships?
Yeah. Yes, and I've had adult relationships.
So can you find adults as attractive as you can children?
Pretty much.
And have you told people that you've gotten into relationships with that you've got this attraction?
A couple of times.
And how has that been received?
It's been received okay in the situations I was in. They weren't complicated situations, by which I mean there wasn't, for example, a child involved around or something like that.
Have you ever had it where you've had a sexual relationship with the person and fantasized about a child?
I have sometimes, yeah, while having sexual interactions with an adult, thought of a child. There are adults who like that.
Really?
Yeah, in a role play sense.
Wow.
Have you had many long-lasting relationships as an adult?
I haven't had many long-lasting relationships, and it's always a background factor that I think at some point this might come up. The fact of being a paedophile, and in a way you start to think just how fair is that on the other person, that they might have to hear that one day. And I don't think anyone who thinks about this situation for a second is going to be surprised that we don't disclose, because what on earth is in it for any human being?
What sort of contact have you had with a child?
The contact I've had with children is social contact, not sexual contact. In the past, I did do some volunteering with children.
What were you done volunteering to work with children?
Yeah.
Knowing you're attracted to them?
Knowing that I had the attraction, but also knowing even at that stage that I wasn't going to.
What, purposely knowing you're going to be working with the kids?
Well, what do you mean by purposely?
You wanted to be around kids. Is that so you can perv on them?
No.
So when you was there, you didn't fancy any of them?
Yes, I did, but it's not the same thing.
But how is it not the same thing?
I'm not going to say like, oh, it was absolutely fine, it was perfect, every paedophile should do it. Nothing bad happened. And certainly those children would have never had any idea if I had had an attraction.
Would you ever think what the parents would think about that?
I know that the parents would hate that.
I think that anybody that has children should have a right to have that disclosed.
I do understand why you say it, that everybody should have the right to have people like me just disclose.
I think our stream got shut down.
Why?
It says right here on the feed I have pulled up, stream unavailable, stream suspended for policy violations.
Oh,
Where
really?
to go, Gene?
This is on YouTube. This is fair use, so I don't understand how this is. This is a YouTube channel with this YouTube up. We're reacting to theirs, so this is fair use. So this is not a policy violation.
Somebody in the chat reported it. Said next topic and reported.
I think the Obama is gay thing probably got it shut down.
It's a question mark. Maybe that might be a good valid point. Maybe change the
title?
title, Ian.
Yeah, he put in the title Obama is gay.
Hey, bro, you gotta start running these titles by me before you put a black face like mom on top of shit like that, bro.
Ian said, "Nah, it's the video," and it's not Obama is gay. It's the question mark. Obama's gay question mark.
That might be true too, because we're watching another video.
But Ian said it's not. What do you say? He said, "Nah, it's the video."
Here we go, Rumble.
He said, "Yeah." He said, "Nah, it's the video." All right, I guess restart the stream, Ian, and then we'll just not watch the video anymore. 'Cause I'm good. Honestly, I'm good on the video now.
Is it because we watched too much of the video? Or is it because there's something in the video? Something in the video that they.
Ian said, "Yeah," so that's probably it. When you turn on the content ID match, YouTube automatically generates claims against the other users' uploaded content that match portions of your reference titles. Yeah, yeah. So I guess you're right. So we watched a little too much of it. It was 12 minutes. How much did we watch, Ian?
We watched 7 minutes.
7 minutes? That's probably what it was then. Yeah, I guess go ahead and reload it, and we'll just do a quick summary of our reactions to what we did at least watch, and then go to the next one. So that, honestly, that means this video is probably not going to be available. Only down for like 3 to 4 minutes, but potentially.